You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. First caller today is Batman. Maybe someday I'll stop. Batman, what's going on?
Ryan, this is Batman. I found another one. This is Jeff. He's verified. So therefore what he's saying is true.
Yep.
If you think Bears fans are obnoxious with the win over the Packers, just wait until the Bears win the Super Bowl.
I don't know if I can wait that long, to be honest with you. I mean, I'll try, but I'm not a super patient man. I can barely wait for the Packers, and it's been like 15 years. I don't have enough life left. Is the other issue, I suppose. Daniel from California. I don't have anything for you, Daniel from California. Let me see what I have here. Fornia, if I can even spell it.
You'll be falling in love.
All right, that's enough of that. What's going on?
All right, I followed instructions. I went to hashmarks.io and I asked very specific questions that I wanted to know. Just because when I watch, I kind of can see with my eyes what happens, and I haven't really been able to isolate numbers to see, so it was good because it was able to do it all for me. My premise is Caleb Williams doesn't like interior pressure.
Okay.
So that's why he sits at the back of the pocket. He hangs back there, and then if he does actually have a free runner running at him, he spins out and works his way outside of the pocket instead of staying in the pocket and working up. That was my premise, and I was asking about under pressure percentages and pressures when hit. It wasn't able to necessarily, it didn't isolate the interior pressure.
Yeah,
but
interior would be tough.
It kind of gave me what, kind of a glimpse into what my premise bias was.
Sure.
Essentially, when he was just regular pressured, he was still in the top third. But once he's hit, he drops all the way to 27.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of does, if you extrapolate, this is making assumptions, it's not data-driven, but this is trying to extrapolate.
Yeah.
If this guy is working in the pocket, steps up, and he's getting hit, he sucks. he's a non-operable NFL quarterback. So what he's doing makes sense because he's hanging in the back trying to keep himself clean. And as long as he's not touched, he's able to perform. So if the Packers, and I'm not really worried about them as a team because without our best guys, we were able to put up lots of points on them. It's just we melted down. Edric Cooper was a big deal in the Bears game, but all that stuff, it just doesn't seem like it's important as long as we can get some hits on this guy. That's their team. I think we can stop the run enough to be effective. I think we could score on them. All that really matters is just not letting this guy get back in the game. Just got to get hits on him. So, thank you for your tool, hashmarks.io. Go check it out.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad you went and check it out and it was able to work for you. It is, again, it is just a tool. It's not, you go to any sort of stats site, and I've paid for several that I regret because Turns out like a lot of them are offensive. I want to see some defensive stuff. And they're like, it's quarterback, wide receiver, basically. Essentially all it is there is a pile of data that is open source that anybody can access. It's just very complicated to do it. And so this is just using AI and then Python, which is good at running certain codes to pull numbers in certain contexts or whatever. I don't know, man. I'm not a coding guy, so I can't give you the language. But again, it's just a tool that can only grab what's available. So understanding, and there is a little thing off to the side that explains, I think it does a pretty good job of telling you what it does have, what it kind of has, and what it doesn't have. So maybe you look at that first. But anyways, I appreciate you using it, and I was glad it was able to help you out. And there is a little thing I added to the bottom right, a little bug reporter. One of the things, and I saw somebody already submitted one of those, which I appreciate. Every time you do that, it'll make the site a little bit better. There is a problem that I'm trying to figure out, and I don't know if there's exactly an answer for it, but when you ask super complex questions, I put a little guard in there because this does cost me money, and I don't want somebody to go in and be like, scrape everything and give me all the stuff, and then it costs me $100 in AI credits or whatever. So I had to put a little guard in there. The problem is sometimes it works really, really, really hard, and then it hits that limit. And I've even had that where it hits the limit, and I'm like, okay, continue, and then it hits the limit, and then okay, and then after like the fourth one, it was like, I don't know what you're talking about. No, you freaking moron. So again, it is AI, and it is a tool. Here's what I would say, kind of in summary. Don't think of it as a unit to get big data. Think of it as a unit to get really granular data. So it's not like, give me all of X, Y, and Z or some kind of complex thing. It's more of, if you had a question like what you had said about under pressure, very good at that kind of stuff. Under pressure, or if you want very specific scenarios, first down, second down, third down, fourth down, you could look at second down and fourth down. You can look at third and two or less, any sort of very specific things. And those are the things you're going to have a very hard time finding anywhere else, which is where this tool becomes very handy. It's just a question of, do you have questions about those things? But if you do, it does a fantastic job with those types of questions. After September, cold weather games, or after December, or, you can even chart it out. Show me a chart from week 1 through the end of the season of their EPA per play and on fourth down or something. Piece of cake for this tool. But I saw, and I'll continue looking at it, the one guy that reported it, it was more of a general question where AI would have to kind of figure out how to even answer the question, and then I don't know if it would even have the data. It was kind of based on our topic of Matt LaFleur and whether, why. The question was essentially, why are the Packers running less plays than the Rams, which is a good question. I don't know. But I also don't know that the answer would be found in any sort of data. So I don't know, but it ended up kind of airing out, I believe. So just keep that in mind. You got 3 free credits, and I would hate for you to have them get wasted because it can't do the job. You know what I mean? Anywho, go check it out. And by the way, Daniel, if you do end up using that and you think it's kind of a useful tool, if you wouldn't mind sharing it on social media and maybe tagging me so I can share it around, that would be helpful as well. Daniel, part 2. I can't stop.
Well, I'm not actually sure. I just went and was trying to just verify, making sure it gave me out good information. And I'm thinking maybe it did isolate my interior pressure premise.
Okay.
Because it's a different number than what I was getting other places. But it is more reflective that he doesn't respond well to it. Because I think it was 0.6. It was 0.8 when he was hit, is what the EPA, negative 0.8, once he was hit on this. But then when I'm looking with Claude to isolate all the numbers for me, I'm getting different numbers. So I'm going to have to play with it. I think I hit a paywall on yours, but it's all good, man. I appreciate the information. But I'm gonna keep tinkering and I'm gonna play with it. I have to go to war on the internet now. Thanks.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time on that because I did the same thing. I'd go to other places and try to verify and whatnot. And one thing you got to keep in mind is different sites do have different data. So it's pulling from what's called NFL Verse, and that is a data set. You're going to have slightly different numbers. There's also things you got to keep in mind. Like one of the issues that when I looked at snap count differential, are you looking at postseason? Is that included or regular season? I know the one time it was including postseason and mine wasn't. You have to specify. We do default non-postseason. So if you want a postseason included, you'd have to specify that. And then just, even if you look at PFF compared to other stats sites, they're going to have different numbers. I don't know why. On very simple things like dropbacks or whatever, like you should not have a different number, but they do. So, it is what it is. The bottom line is I ran and verified it multiple times, and the point is it is giving you accurate information from the data set it's using. That doesn't mean it's going to be the same numbers that you find at other places. But it should do a relatively good job of telling you, I can't do interior pressure kind of thing. So if it did tell you that, it probably didn't do interior pressure. Oh, boy. Randy from Minnesota. Oh, no. Wait. Hold on. I have it muted because it goes on forever. Let's do something a little different here.
Minnesota!
I got to start saving these so that they're ready to go for you guys.
Hi, Ryan. It's Randy in Minnesota.
What's up, dude?
I want to thank you for your pod on this whole broadcasting rights
Sure.
hubbub that's going on. I recently read, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe in conspiracies. There is a rabbit hole I think should be followed.
Sure.
So this congressman from Wisconsin, Republican, all right, I'm not getting political here, I promise you.
It's hard not to in these things. I feel like I did a pretty good job of just stating it and just leaving the rest of it alone, but, I'm sure I pissed somebody off or something.
I read recently that Rupert Murdoch, president of Fox, is getting in a snitch about the NFL wanting more money for the next contract. And he's starting to stir the pot. And he is a big Republican supporter.
Sure.
Obviously, Fox News.
It would make sense, too. I kind of feel like I see where you're going, and this is making some sense. You got to remember, Fox and all those guys, they were everything, right? They were the whole deal. Number one, they're struggling right now to compete with all these other things that are coming out. These are the same people that you're seeing. They're just constant layoffs 24/7. So that they're already up against it. Now they're having to compete against Amazon, against YouTube, against everybody in these rights. So you could understand where somebody like Fox or whoever would come out and maybe nudge a politician a little bit and be like, if we can make these guys go away, make it harder for Amazon, et cetera, to compete with Fox, it makes sense to me.
And this guy, if you follow the line, is he picking up the points for Murdoch to try to make a stand and make himself look good in front of Fox News watchers, and everything else? It just seems amazing that all of a sudden this is coming up.
Right.
And obviously an election year. And,
True.
I would think as a congressman from Wisconsin, anything that would kill the Packers would kill his chances for re-election. So there's something there that we're not seeing, I believe, because why would he bring this up? Now, I'm also one of those that think, like you said, the NFL is overreached. They got too greedy too quick.
Yeah.
I've complained about having to do the whole streaming service thing. I think it's nuts.
Yeah.
But I also want Green Bay to be solvent. So if that's the case, if I'll spend $300 on Packer stock, yeah, I guess I'll stay with the streaming services if it helps keep the Packers solvent. I'm really not trying to get political with this, but there is a line there that you can kind of see. Anyway, that's all I got. Go Pack, go. Bye.
No, I think it does make sense, and I'm going to look up one thing real quick for Fitzgerald, but what was I going to say? If you look around, what I've noticed, you mentioned election year and all that kind of stuff. What I've noticed, if you poke around, outside of Packer fans, because they're panicked about this issue, everybody out there right now that I've seen is good. I hope they do this because I'm tired of all the streaming service stuff. So the vast majority that I can tell of NFL fans are very much hoping that the NFL clamps down on this. And so it's a nearly unanimous thing outside of now this scare that the Packers have done to try to push back so we are kind of the anti-leverage in the other direction. The only weird thing, as you mentioned, is that Fitzgerald is in Wisconsin, Scott Fitzgerald. Here's the thing with Scott Fitzgerald, though. You think, well, why would you do this? You're going to get voted out. No, he's not. I just looked into it. Scott Fitzgerald's seat is very secure. Wisconsin's 5th district is a safe Republican district, not a swing district. Cook Partisan Voter Index has him at R plus 11, meaning the district votes about 11 points more Republican than the national average. 2024 election results, Fitzgerald won re-election easily with 64.5%. And then you figure, well, what about the primaries? Because they have primaries coming up Tuesday, August 11th. As of now, nobody is running against him. So, similar to, we're just going down the conspiracy theory path here. Similar to what we said about the Packers maybe being used as a tool of leverage against this effort, Fitzgerald is somebody that kind of makes sense if you're going to pick somebody, it has to be from this committee, and I don't know how many people are in this committee, but it's got to be somebody also that has a very safe seat, and he has a very safe seat. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to get primaried unless something drastic happens and somebody jumps out from the Republican side and says, I'm running against this guy and I'm running for the Packers, and then he ends up getting primaried. But again, as of right now, nobody's running against him, so he's going to be winning that primary because it's an unopposed seat, and then he's going to win his reelection because I promise you, in that strong of a district, it's not going to go Democrat because of the Packers. So the bottom line is, and again, maybe this isn't the case, I don't know, and all he said right now is we're looking into it, nothing really definitive, but either way, it sounds like he has an unbelievably safe seat and is not worried about losing his job over this Packers thing. So I can track with that. That makes sense. I had mentioned how, pretty much everybody would be opposed to this. The big media companies and all that are going to be, not on that side. So it's kind of a weird thing that shouldn't pass. But it makes sense that, like you said, the Foxes, the NBC, CBS, those guys, they absolutely would want more pressure because they are the free providers, right? They're the ones that do give it out for free. And everybody else is these paid subscriptions. So if the paid subscriptions are the problem, who benefits? Was that Latin quo bono or que bono or something? Who benefits? Well, if it lowers the prices and gives Fox and the rest of these guys more NFL games, it's obvious who benefits. And there's no question, as much as they may be struggling, they still have a massive amount of power. And again, you have a huge voting block among NFL fans. I'm guessing if you polled NFL fans, massively in the favor of some kind of regulation that makes all these subscription things go away. So this is where I've kind of said, and I don't believe anything bad is going to happen to the Packers. I really don't. The odds that we go that far down the road and anything actually happens is almost zero, in my opinion. But still, this is very much a I told you so moment when I kind of said, be careful what you wish for with this screaming and yelling about, I'm tired of these subscriptions. Because this amount of meddling, I'm not a fan of. I'm hopeful that some kind of either nothing happens or some kind of a resolution that just doesn't make things worse. they can come to, but I am skeptical. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. We got TJ from Alabama.
Hey, Ryan, TJ from Alabama. Just
What's up,
listening to your, when you're going through the whatever, the law, blah, blah, blah. Boy, I can't think. The exemption and violating the exemption.
Yeah.
Two things with it. Kind of got me going a little bit. Not that I want to get going, but neither are there. One, the government will not fix it. Get that out of everybody's head. The government will not fix it. I'm not even an anarchist that I don't want any government or whatever. Government has a use and government has a purpose. But it sure as hell is not this, and it will not make things better. As you said, it will be clumsy. It will not be overly effective. There will be dominoes that fall that we don't want to fall. Government, you got bigger fish to fry. Why don't you get us out of the damn war in Iran?
I always hated when these things, and I understand the antitrust thing, and that is a governmental thing, but every time they'd take votes on like the NCAA and everything, it's like, what are you doing? Why? I mean, I understand we can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. You can do multiple things, but it just seems odd to me, that this is what we're focusing on. Find something better to do with your life.
Or something of that nature, and leave the football alone. All right, that would. And then the other aspect is, I get it. You got all these streaming services and all this other kind of stuff, and the NFL is a big, hungry beast that just wants more revenue. They've made it very clear. Roger Goodell said we want to be $10 billion, whatever. Yes, the government the NFL is a greedy corporation.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. But all the football fans out there, including myself, you are not a frickin' victim because you don't want to buy Netflix. If you want to...
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would love to be able to watch... Well, I can now because of the giant deal with Paramount Plus, which is awesome. But I wanted to watch UFC fights. I'm not spending 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks, whatever it is, to watch a pay-per-view event. I'm not doing it. I just saw, I wanted to watch an arm wrestling event, and I'm like, where is this at? I figured it was on YouTube because it's freaking arm wrestling. It's pay-per-view. I'm not paying for that. But it's like, I'm not going to go to the government and say, that's not fair. I can't afford it, so I don't watch it. That's it. That's life. It used to be free, and now it's not. Yeah, well, sucks to suck, I guess. Things used to last 50 years. Now they last 5 minutes, and you got to replace it. Phones and televisions and everything else. Things change. Not always for the better. Sometimes for the better, sometimes not. It's usually a trade-off. And by the way, the trade-off here is that the NFL becomes much wealthier and becomes much bigger and much better, and the salary cap goes up, and it benefits our team. And these are all good things, and I like those things. But, maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care. The bottom line is, it's not my business. It's their business, and they get to run the business. And if they do something stupid and it hurts their business, then that's the signal we have to send to them when people are not paying it, and then they're losing money and whatever. And if they're not losing money, then guess what? I'm sorry to tell you, it was a good decision. It maybe we don't like it, but it ends up being a good decision because it worked. So it is what it is, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Watch it, and
Sometimes
that's where
life
it
sucks.
is. Purchase the damn thing. If you don't want to purchase it, then suck it up, be an adult, and say, you know what, I'm going to vote with my dollars. I'm tired of this crap, and I'm not going to buy all this stuff.
Right.
And if you vote with your dollars, you can have an effect. You're not going to have an effect by the government. So, one, keep the government out of crap it doesn't need to be involved in because it's not good at it. It's not efficient. So, stay out of it. And then, two, you are not a victim because you don't get what you want as far as your NFL package is concerned. Vote with your dollars, be an adult, take care of it through yourself. All right, that's it. Thanks, Ryan. Have a good day.
No, I'm with you 100%. And again, it's, I don't like it is freaking, oh, well, that's life sometimes. You just got to make decisions, but and maybe I'm naive, but I'm still hopeful that this is going to end up being in some ways worse, but in some ways better. I'm excited about the prospect of what other streaming services can bring. You know, they have all these cool packages of watch every game, watch 4 different games at once. I can't afford that crap. I had it at one point. It was way too expensive. But, you know, I don't, there's constantly evolving, and I'm just waiting for, you know, and this is the way things generally, look at AI. By the way, this happens only, and I feel free to fact check this, only in unregulated sectors. If you want to find things that get better and better and better and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, don't let the government touch it. It's the bottom line. All right? Like the frickin' retina eye surgery stuff, unregulated. You can go in there, pay cash, and you're good to go. Anything else medical, it's going to cost you your entire life because the government has its hands in everything. And insurance companies are involved, and it's a frickin' massive mess. Education is ruined because of all the frickin' regulations and everything else. We force people in, we give stupid loans, and it's a disaster. Televisions are now like 70 inches for like $200 because it's an electronics company that does whatever the hell it wants. And it's greedy, and it just gets better and better and bigger and bigger, and it competes with all the other greedy companies. And if you want to compete, you got to get better and better and better and better and better, and that's just what it does. And that's what I want the NFL to do. And, you know, it continues to grow, and it continues to compete, and it continues to do all these things. And maybe it doesn't really compete with anybody else, and that causes them to be a little stagnant. But I'm hopeful that the other companies that are competing for the NFL will innovate and will get better and can offer better products for cheaper prices. So I like the competition. I like that it keeps changing. It might not be great right now, but give it time. Let it continue. Let them continue to compete, because when that happens, things get better and better and better. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but I'm hopeful that at some point I'm going to pay for a YouTube subscription, and I'm going to be able to have 7 different games up all over my television, everywhere else, and it's going to cost me, I don't know, freaking $100 or something. You know, maybe $100 a month, but still way cheaper than 17 different subscriptions, and, you know, one to watch regular television and one to watch this game and one to watch that game. And then you got to buy the premium subscription just to be able to watch sports and all the nonsense. Again, maybe I'm wearing some greedy capitalist rose-colored glasses here, but I'm just observing reality around me. And I'd rather the NFL be run like Samsung than, you know, the IRS or my hospital or, you know, the education department or something. Anywho, let's power through. We got a couple from Nico from Idaho.
I'm a potato.
It's the best I got for you. I'm a potato.
Yo ho ho, Ryan. This is Nico in Idaho.
Yo.
Just got back a couple days ago for my little trip up north. It's beautiful. If you ever have a chance to visit Sandpoint, Idaho, I recommend it, especially in the spring, you know, or if you like to ski, go there in the full winter, because there's a lot of mountains, ski resorts, that kind of stuff. So that's the snow belt. So there's times you get a lot of snow. Had a wonderful time visiting the grandbabies. My daughter has 3 girls, well, and her husband have 3 girls. And then they just had one little boy. He's a little fat boy. He's the smiliest baby I've ever seen, I think.
Love that.
His name is also Nico. It's funny because the grandkids are like 11, 7, and 3. And my daughter called me Nico because, you know, that's what kids do when they're older. And I responded, and they're like, wait, they didn't know that was my name. It's so cute because they just call me Papa, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But, whoa, dude almost hit me. So got back. Fun. This is the boring time of the year. So other than that, you know, it's kind of, I always forget how lonesome and desolate. I feel like I'm on a desert island by myself, like tiny little, looks like an upside down bowl with one palm tree, and there's no football. It's like, What makes it worse is now that there's all these dumb fake accounts that just report absolute lies, you know?
Right.
Well, they report something that we've known for like 3 months. The Packers have this big deal going. Like, no, they don't. Shut up. You're just trying. So I hate it. So anytime I see packages, I just do it. I told you earlier, I just swipe, and then I see if you said anything about it. And if you haven't said nothing, if you haven't said it, it's not true. So
that is how I do my stuff.
And unfortunately, I report all that stuff because it's the off season and it's fun. So I apologize.
And I forgot why I called. I mean, because there's not much to talk about. Guess there's still nothing new on the Josh Jacobs front. The longer there's nothing, the better that is. Oh, I remember what I called. Yeah. I like the new soundboard. In fact, if you get it ready, my stomach feels weird. My stomach, I don't know, it just feels, wait. I feel much.
I didn't have it up because I had I'm a Potato sitting there, but, you know, okay, there. So stupid. So me and my brother, we talked about doing a podcast on motocross. Right now, there's just not a lot of time for both of us. Yeah.
But if we do, I'm going to be the soundboard guy, and yes, that's going to be very important.
So I started it. I was going to pause it, but you were done. I got to feel this out because as I was doing it, I'm like, I bet some people are getting super annoyed by this. I enjoy it. I think it's hilarious. And I'm glad you do too. I've been as a little side project, and it's basically ready to go. I just don't want to implement it because I'm like, this is going to just piss people off. What I did or am doing is building an AI soundboard assistant where I preload a ton of different crap. And then I have AI listening, because you can do that, listening and then getting context. And I'm trying to get a very low latency one so that it's quick and not delayed. But as it hears things, it'll, you know, deploy some different sounds and whatnot. And I'm trying to give it a personality that is, my word to describe it was cheeky, with obviously a caveat that, like, if I'm reporting somebody died, let's not drop a, like a, I don't know, womp womp, womp womp, or a, no, none of that type of stuff. But I thought it'd be fun. I got to turn the volume down a little bit too. These are louder than everything else. But I don't know. I thought that would be fun, and it would be during the main podcast as well. So maybe like a trial run, but you know, I feel like every time I do something, there's a certain subset that likes the show more, which is great, but I get nothing from that. And then there's a segment that's like, I'm not listening anymore. So it ends up being a net negative for me, but I don't know. I can't stop doing stuff. I kind of like doing stuff, you know, and this is a thing I can do. So I'm probably going to try it out. Take a break here and then we'll get back to Nico part 2.
I'm a potato.
But the reason I called is it's kind of thinking about all the draft picks. Typically, when we get, you know, after the draft, especially when we're to now, where we've kind of seen a little juice, you know. Not that any of it matters. I hate it how they're all, oh my gosh, so-and-so looks so good. It's always a defense at first because there's no pads, and they're kind of doing like light hitting, and
yeah.
Of course the defense has advantage. So I don't care how good someone looks now, not until they get pads on, then it matters. I'm sure some of you heard that story when Ock was a rookie, and they were just doing random drills, and Matthews wanted a piece of the rookie, and Bakhtiara held him off. And it was like, next, and Clay's like, no, I'm going again. And he held him off a few times. I think Clay eventually got the better of him, but that's when I care, when the pads go on and they start doing actual hitting. Honestly, if they're even allowed to do that. But I kind of want to talk about, usually by now, there's like one or two that I'm like, maybe they could be a starter, right? And then a bunch you just hope, you know. There's always, hey, we drafted this guy in the 7th round. Remember a couple of years ago we drafted that cornerback in like the 7th round, and he was supposed to be a first-round talent. But then his junior or senior year, he sucked. But I guess he was elite. I forget the guy's name. I don't even think he's on the team anymore. When I hear that stuff, I'm like, I believe it when I see it. I only get excited about receivers. Sorry. I'm a Packers fan. Mm-hmm. We get some Reggie Bagleton from, you know, Canada. I think he's going to be the next Jordy Nelson. You know, but that's just my dumb brain. But of all the guys we got, and I kind of think they all might be decent eventually. With Cisse, you never know. I mean, I thought, what's his face, the guy we drafted before Jair was going to be really good, and that dude sucked. But of all the guys, and I think Cisse might be good. He's definitely got the physical talents. Jagger Burton guy, I think he might be, a serviceable guy. Even the defensive lineman we got early, I think he might. The one I'm kind of excited most about is Dennis Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
I hope. I don't know. I just have a feeling that. Oh, hey, my wife is calling. So I'm gonna take that. But let me know what you think. I'm out. Peace.
Oh, this goes on for a while. Do I get to hear the phone call? Anything? Nothing? Okay. I don't know why that continued recording, but I think he just lied about having a phone call and just put his phone in his pocket. No, I think it's funny because we do this like every year. We get overexcited about stupid stuff because it's the off season and it's fun and whatever. But then it's like it does. I don't care until the pads come on is a very common thing that everybody says, and I say it and you say it and we say it. And then the pads go on and somebody looks good and it's always something else. Well, who cares? Because, it doesn't matter because it's training camp. Nobody cares about training camp. I want to see it in the preseason. And then somebody does something in the preseason and it's like, who cares? It's not even the regular season. And then it gets to be the regular season and it's just week 1, chill out. It doesn't I want to see whatever. And then after several weeks, it's only been 1 year. It takes 3 years to know if anybody's actually good at stuff. So it's just a constant game we play until, after about 3 or 4 years, that's when we officially will say that the guy just sucks or whatever. But that's also part of the reason why I think it's important to kind of indulge a little bit because everything gets dumbed down to it doesn't matter. And it's just not fun. So, I'll put a caveat in that, it's just training camp or it's just this, that, or the other. But my consistent standard is allow yourself to have fun, That's all. I know it's training camp and I know it doesn't super matter or whatever, but I'm going to enjoy it. I think it's a good thing to enjoy. Oh boy, we got hold on, we got Brucey here. What am I gonna do? I'm Batman. We'll just go with that one.
Ryan, it's Bat Tweet Batman.
What's up, dude?
Bleacher Nation Bears states, could a Caleb Williams extension come as early as next January?
I hope so.
Expound.
I want him to get a contract extension today because I think there's a good chance that his ceiling was last year. I mean, he could take a huge step and become a significantly better quarterback. I'm not denying that, but I also think a lot of what was good last year was very fluky. And if he does regress without growing in other areas, which is what he essentially needs to do, it's what the entire team needs to do because they're going to regress in a lot of areas. It's just a question of can they counteract the regression with, getting better in certain areas. But if he doesn't, then this would be the absolute best time to pay the guy. I don't know when the earliest is. There's I forget exactly when. I don't even remember when exactly how long it's been since he got drafted. But as soon as that eligibility is available, I want him to get paid because I don't want them to be like, well, that kind of sucked. Maybe we should wait. I don't want that. Hello?
Just another year, Chicago. After missing 7 games in 25 season on IR, Austin Booker tripled his rookie sack count from 1.5 in 24 to 4.5 in 25.
Dang.
With more experience and offseason getting stronger, an understanding of the scene, can he get 10 or more sacks in 26? I think so, if he can stay healthy. Chicago history, true or false? Doug Plank and Gary Fenwick were 2 of the most underrated football players of all time. To be honest, I don't know who they are. So, yes, no, maybe so. Sleeper Bears. NFL analyst Bucky Brooks predicts Caleb Williams will break the top 50 players in the top 100 list this year. Wow.
So, still
And
going?
I spent
sorry. And what? Say that again? Sorry, I'm just going to play that one more time.
And I'm spent.
And I'm spent. I thought he said, and I stink. And just like that was his sign off. Like, and by the way, I smell bad. You know, I've decided, because it's Saturday, I never know what day it is anymore. Because it's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday, I'm not going to do the regular pod, which is why I just decided now I'll post this at the 4 a.m. slot. I did that because I realized I need to chill out. I'm getting a little jazzed up, and I had plans for a little bit more of a light, podcast for tomorrow. That isn't going to happen, so that'll be for Monday. It will be a little bit light. The bottom line is, though, you're pulling me back in because the list of things I have about Caleb Williams and the Bears. I mean, I'm going to have to do some stuff to maybe this is what I'll do today. I give myself so many projects, and it's like, okay, but what are you actually going to do today? We got hash marks. We got our other command center for all the different podcasts. I have an NFL draft thing that I haven't even told you guys about. I don't even know if that's going to, I think I have a plan for that to be kind of a Patreon thing. Cause I think that could work out. Connecting things to Patreon is a pain. I tried that once. You have to like apply and tell them why you want to do it. I think it'd be easier to just download, the emails, and then that email will have access to a certain thing. I'm thinking about going that direction with it. But, anywho, I need to dig harder into Vikings, into the Lions, and maybe even some other NFC teams like the Eagles and Rams or whatever. So if I'm going to talk trash, if we're just going to look for bad takes, let's just look for bad takes, because it can't just be. I have so many things for the Bears, and it's like this is just going to be like the anti-Bears podcast here. So I've just been setting that aside and not doing it, and we're definitely not doing it tomorrow. Again, we're going to keep it light a little bit. I'm going to sound like Sal here. I got to keep my blood pressure down. It's starting to get a little out of control. So I've had a bunch of Bears people comment on some of the stuff on social media. I've ignored all of it. I just concede everything, not even responding. Just, yep, okay, I'm a stupid biased idiot, and we lost, and they beat us, and I'm jealous, and I'm scared, and all. And it's fine. I'm not engaging. I need to disengage here a little bit. But anywho, you're getting me going here, Batman. Hold up. Where is the one that I was doing? The little is this Michael Keaton? Sweet. I'm Batman. All right, could have done without the cheering. There it is. Oh, nope. Wait. This is a longer one. Sorry, Batman. All right, that was unexpected.
That tweet, Batman.
What's up, dude?
I found a doozy, Ryan. I was supposed to be done, but Captain Graybeard states, no exaggeration, Jordan Love is the least feared QB in the NFC North.
I did see that.
Taylor is the most by far, but I think teams are more scared of Jared Goff and Kyler Murray than Love. There's nothing scary about this dude. Give me a break.
I'm getting I can feel it welling up. I'm trying to chill out a little bit. So I saw that, and it's not only him. I think it was Stacey Dales was on a Chicago Bears podcast. Somebody had said that she said it. I'm like, I got to go find out if she did, and she did. She said she has a crush on, not like a literal crush, but like she likes Jordan. She has a soft spot for Jordan, essentially. But even still said that Caleb is the most, and she's on a Bears podcast, maybe she's just being flattering, but the fact that, again, it's just the freaking hype train. It's Justin Fields all over again, but if Justin Fields actually did something, if they actually won the division and went to the playoffs and did all these things, could you imagine the hype? That's kind of where we're at with Caleb right now. And it's a little harder to fight back because, they did win games and they did do all the things, and so you got to kind of concede a couple things here and there. But it's just so absolutely out of control. So I had contemplated that, and I think that's going to be a hashmarks.io thing where I'm going to essentially just I'll start off on the side with AI, not on hashmarks, because I don't want to burn through all the credits and all that. But on the side, I'm just going to ask, what would be the most fearful thing so if you're a defensive coordinator, you're going to say the quarterback that scares me the most can do these 5 things, right? And it doesn't have to be like combined. It's just like the independently, this scares me, this scares me, this scares me. And then we're going to turn those into statistics, right? Your ability to perform under pressure or whatever, right? And then we're going to look at those things and we're going to find out where Jordan lands, okay? And I don't know the answer to the question. Maybe he is at the bottom. Maybe Caleb's at the, obviously his escapability and whatnot, it's probably going to put him somewhere high up on some kind of a, I don't know, but I'm going to do it because it annoys me and it takes me off and we're going to make that a thing. Not that it's worthwhile because Captain Graybeard is going to be one of those bar type of people. See, I'm doing it again. He's not going to listen and he's not going to care. And it's just going to get boiled down to, well, I have eyes and I can see from everybody knows. Don't you know? Everybody already know. Yeah, I know, dude. It's a freaking reality is just a democracy, right? It's just whatever everybody else thinks is the freaking situation. I'm going to do it anyways, but it's not going to be worthwhile because Bears fans are freaking Rich in Texas. Real quick. Rich in Texas. You got to be careful because some of these are wildly inappropriate. Let's see what this is. Oh, no. Wow. That was the worst thing ever. Texas, I should have known. It says Hawk. Texas Rangers. Oh, Lord. It's time! All right, I quit. That's not what I meant. Rich.
Hey, Ryan.
There he is.
Just listening.
This isn't going great, Rich. All right, TJ in Alabama. We'll skip the song. You know the song.
Hey, Ryan. TJ from Alabama. Listening to your educational period, going through the various different personalities of thinking and logical people versus the touchy-feely kind of people. And that was actually kind of interesting, kind of informative. Not overly, surprising, boy, I never thought of that or this, that, or the other thing, but I did find it quite interesting, and it made me think of some things, like, yes, your audience and the Packernet army, I think tends to lean towards a certain way,
I would assume so.
Following the leader. I really enjoy your show probably for a certain reason, and I probably wouldn't listen to your show if I was on the other spectrum of that because I probably couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it so much because of what you bring to it and things like that. And my guess, I don't know, but my guess is the Uncle Ricos and the Nicos and the Omars and the Chris from Alabamas. I'm not sure us as a community are overly the caring, feely, don't want to upset it.
That's a fair point. The call-ins have pointed in one direction.
Anybody type of crowd. I don't know, but maybe that's just me. But I also, always kind of thought I was a little broken is probably not the right word, but maybe something a little off. For example, something happens at work, and I happen to have people report to me, neither here nor there, but blah, blah, blah. Somebody comes in and they'll come in and, they'll say, hey, I need 4 days off because my dad died or something. And I know what I'm supposed to feel. I know. I've been trained. I know I'm supposed to be, oh man, that's really, very sorry for you. Sorry for all that other kind of stuff. And of course I try to say the right thing and try to empathize the best I can and things like that. But I know in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, hey, we got shit to ship. Go ahead.
Suck it up, dude.
Take a half a day, but then get back here because we got to put some stuff in a box and ship it out the door. No, I don't say any of that. And whatever. But
this is a safe space. You can admit horrible things like that.
Yeah, I learned something about myself. Where somebody comes in and says, yeah, my cat died. Yeah, that's hard. It's like, all right, let's get back to work. I don't know. But it was very...
Yeah, that'd be a tough one. Cat died, dude. Like, I'm not going to... I'm going to bury the cat. I might shed a tear. I'm not taking off work, though. That's a little soft. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
Informative. I found it enjoyable. It does explain a few things. And thank you, Ryan. Go Pack, go.
it might be different, and this is, I don't know, this might tick some people off. I don't know. It is what it is. It might be different if it was like a male versus a female thing, you know? Whereas, at least as far as my opinion, if I were a boss, if a female employee came in crying, saying my cat died and I need some time, I'd be a lot more sympathetic. If a grown-ass man came in and was crying and said, hey, my cat died, I don't, I'm not going to say I don't care, but I am shocked that you have such a lack of concern for, there's just sort of a thing where it's like, as a man, you need to be able to do certain things, and you're kind of just coming in here and telling me that I have no desire to even pretend that I'm going to try to do those things. You know, I mean, it's one of those, like, as a dude, you need to be able to be that guy that, like, walks the dog out there and, quote unquote, takes him to the farm if need be. You know, he bites your kid. What do? You drag him out in the woods and give him a little last meal and kaboom, and then you bury him, and then you go to work. Those are the horrible things that you need to be able to do. And crying at work, my cat died and I need some time off. I mean, I might say yes because I feel obligated, but it's crazy to me that you're just kind of conceding that you have no interest in, you know, doing the things that a dude is expected to do. That's freaking crazy to me. So yes, the bottom line is, TJ, you and I are on this spectrum that maybe is not great in certain areas, you know? Again, the world needs all kinds of people. And this is where I wouldn't be good in a role that you're in, because you know, again, I'd say yes, sure, fine, but I would absolutely think less of you, you know? That's one of those things you come in and you're like, dude, my cat died. And it's like, oh, that sucks. And you're kind of like down and you're upset. You're certainly not crying, but you're doing your job and you're moping, and that's fine. This freaking cat died, you know? Cut him some slack. I'm not going to be happy if and when our cat dies. Love that freaking cat, dude. And I know, like, doing a podcast and, you know, going into work are different things, but I mean, I was doing the podcast hours after I found out my mom died. And then I went to class. I was out for work. I had to go to do a class thing. And so I was doing that. And meanwhile, I had people calling, hey, you got a phone call, as I'm in a different state, learning how to fix freaking a CT machine. I got to go take a call from a guy who's like, hey, you're next of kin. What do I do with her ashes? Because she's in another state and nobody's here. She didn't have a funeral. Like, it's a horrible situation. And the guy was a complete jagoff, had no compassion whatsoever, and was like, so should I just discard them? Or are you going to pay all this money to do this stuff? And then I had to go back to my class and just sit there and listen and learn and pay attention. Because it's horrible, but it's freaking life. Anywho, we're getting dark. Appreciate all the calls we've got. I was like, oh man, we got to get going. We got a bunch of callers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Uncle Ricos. So, not a huge response, just a big, exciting Uncle Rico day. So we'll save that for tomorrow. Anywho, I will talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.